up real quick. Video now, comments to speech. Audio sharing settings. Broadcasts. Okay. What I love about this story is that it keeps getting better and better. There is some content, in Final Fantasy XIV that I have to go back and do because, obviously I haven't completed everything. Mainly what I'm talking about are the Alliance raids. I did almost all of the Binding Coil of Bahamut raids. I did the Crystal Tower. I think the only one that I'm really missing is, well, actually no, I'm missing a lot. What am I talking about? I'm missing the Omega raid. Ready for you, Hades.
Show me your vaunted strength, and I shall expose the lie of your fragmented existence.
Alright, here we go. Tank stance. first time doing this fight.
Your hate is mine, come on!
I know it's not recommended to go into these things blind, but that's what I did.
Scurry and scatter!
Give it all to me, give it all to me. Oh, what the? I guess these are all his followers? They're all the ones that are on board with Zodiark. From what I gathered with all this in the story, and spoiler warning for those who haven't played this story, I mean, you know, this is a great story, whether you play the game or not. Even if you just watch the cutscenes, you know, this story is really, really engaging. Apparently, these ancients, they were the ones who they created Zodiark and Eidolon. And for the first time, were divided on what was best for their world. All because they faced an apocalypse. Emmett Silk.
Behold, a sorcerer of Elm, tremble before my glory.
Only wants to bring back that world, those ancients. But his reasons for doing so, the means for doing so, are not beneficial to our world and our timeline. And the world of the first is actually the world of Heidelin, just in the future. You see, they're just two separate worlds. One ruled by Zodiark, the other one by Heidelin. At least that's how I perceive it. I could be wrong. This soundtrack has fire. This has been quite possibly the best soundtrack I've ever heard in Final Fantasy XIV. The AoE could be crazy. It's doable though. It's all a matter of just kind of like strategizing where you are on the map and stuff. That could have been the end of us. Unleash light. That's right, the blessing of Hydaelyn. Saved our neck many times before. The world and every life upon it. Our son must never again out of power. That's it.
You have no power over me.
Is that really it, though? That was so abrupt. Alright. Let's see how this ends.
Will not kill.
Damn.
Should I surrender this fight, what will become of it all? What will become of our dreams?
Enough, damn you!
That's how we trap his soul.
infernal strength!
With all thy might!
The axe. You did it, Ardbert. You saved your world.
Remember. Remember us. Remember that we once lived.
It's over. Emet-Selch is no more.
More importantly, how do you fare?
What dost thou see?
His ether. It is as it used to be. As a disciple of Zodiac, the Ascian was the darkness to your light. I can but assume that when you set your strength against his, the light within you was spent.
No, it's more than that. Under the strain of that incredible flood of ether, your soul had begun to break apart. Yet now it seems somehow restored. I tried to help you before the battle, but Emet-Selch stopped me. So, how did you... exactly what did you... Can you tell us what happened?
It was Ardbert. He saved us. They don't know about him. I had help from a hero of this world.
I see.
Grahatia?
Where to start? I believe I owe you all an apology. And you, most especially.
It is good to see you awake, Grahatia.
Well, 'tis good to be awake.
I love Eternal Wind. That was the perfect way to end this.
So, those mad souls dove straight into the ocean over there, did they?
All I could see from here was the whale, Master Chai.
'Twas surely Alphino and those friends of his. They did something heroic, mark my words. You need only look up there for proof of that.
As you say, my love. They're sure to be back. Any moment now. Any moment.
They are coming back, aren't they? I couldn't bear the thought of...
There, dear. Everything will be all right.
There, look! Over there, over the beach!
So now we are the Warrior of Darkness and the Warrior of Light?
Greetings! You all right?
Welcome back!
Masayoshi Soken, the man behind the music.
I didn't think we'd be swimming the whole way back. Heavens. Take me.
Alphino! Oh, hells.
Wait! Where's Urianger?
He must have fallen behind.
But shouldn't we look for him?
He'll wash up, sooner or later.
He always disappears.
Alphino!
Welcome back, dear
ones!
Your sapling has returned.
And thus did salvation come to the first. The lamps of Amarot will fade along with Emet-Selk's enchantments, and the depths shall be as once they were. Mount Gulg will one day fall, and the Talos below yield to wind and rain. This tale, too, will fade with time, passing into legend as the world heals and moves on. Nevertheless,
they can do so much with this story. Like, I think about all the crossover events that they had. The Crystal Tower was always the thing that really stood out to me, because I'm like, wait a minute. It's the same Crystal Tower from Final Fantasy III.
As ether obeys the cycle, as death and decay gives way to new life,
Aww.
so too do the memories we share inspire others to rise to greatness. For we who walk before may lead those who walk after. Your road goes ever on, as does your story, as does your legacy. Such is the hero's lot, to touch the lives of countless others.
This is awesome.
Excuse me? You're the Warrior of Darkness, aren't you? Where are you from, really? And how did you get to be so strong?
Wow. What brings the light to the echoes, tumbling time, these scars existed, cast aside. What brings shadow, will survive. What brings shadow, what brings light. What dark future, no one survives. What brings shadow, what brings light. In order of appearance. Look at all these voice actors. The wages of love, the world's end. tomorrow. Authors of the fates, orchestrate or fall. Horror stars the stage. Our defiance drives us straight to the edge. Perfection in the grass. Recollections of the past. Circles of an ash. Far beyond this dream of paradise lost. Home, riding home, dying home. Hold on to hope. Oh, home, riding home, home, riding home, hope, finding hope. Oh, one brings shadow, one brings light, one more chapter we've yet to write, one more nothing, nothing tonight, pondering the ethic of truth tonight. One brings shadow, one brings light, one brings shadow, one brings light. You are the light. We fall, we fall, we fall unto the end, our end, the end, our end, our end. I am shadow, I am light. May all of the dark lost inside you find light again. In time, tumbling and turning, we see commands. The eternal winds to the land descend. Our journey will never end. This is such an amazing song. I have all the lyrics right here, so that I figured I'd just sing along. What attracted me most to Final Fantasy XIV, though, was at first it wasn't the story. It was more just like how everything kind of looked like more fantasy than some of the other games. It looked like something, if you were to remake Final Fantasy 4 or 6, that's how it would look. And I didn't play 11. I didn't play 11 very much, so I can't compare it to that, but I feel like this has to be the best MMO for Final Fantasy. To those who rise, a prayer to keep us ever by your side, an undying promise that we just might carry on in a song. Pray don't forget us, your bygone kin, with one world's end as a new begin. And should a soul scatter into the wind, still we shall live on. Stand tall, my friend. May whole of the dark deep inside you find light again. This time, tumbling, turning, we make amends. The eternal winds through the land ascend, here to lift us that we won't die. So, I still have not finished the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I've been putting it off and putting it off. I started playing Ghost of Tsushima, so that's another game that I'm working on. There's a ton of games that I mean to finish, and trying to find time to just do them all in a sufficient amount of time. Give myself like enough time to do them all. Because, like, I need to balance out, you know, doing that and how I'm gonna, like, you know, record some of them. I recently got into OBS Studio. OBS Studio is a program that you use for, you know, it's a game recording program. So I got a game capture card. And while it's not the most highly advanced, and, you know, I'm not working with, you know, the best RAM in my laptop, I'm trying to make the best of it. I tried doing a few test runs and it kept freezing on me, so I wasn't able to really make it work with what I was playing. I was trying to record something on my Super Nintendo. That's another thing I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be working on trying to, like, get some classic games, recording some classic stuff from, like, the NES, SNES, PlayStation era. You know, maybe some N64 games, I don't know. I just want to record games, and, like, for the longest time as I could remember, that's been one of my goals, is starting a YouTube channel and dedicating it to gaming, dedicating it to, like, you know, here's this game. For example, here's Life Force on Nintendo. Like, why is Life Force such a good game? Like, you know, I want to, like, go into, like, specifics. Why is Final Fantasy a good game? You know, Final Fantasy for NES. It was, like, the first time that a role-playing game of its kind was made that much more accessible to people. You know, Final Fantasy did something that, you know, redefined how RPGs worked. Dragon Quest may have started it. Dragon Quest may have, you know, started with the story, the imagination that went into, you know, making these types of games. But Final Fantasy kind of perfected that art. And it's like, okay, look, you know, not everybody's, you know, like, gotta, you know, not everybody's gonna understand something, so let's make, like, a simple fantasy game. You know, it's got good music, it's got good, you know, graphics for the time, and I don't know, something about it just stood out to people, and, you know, became a successful franchise. And Final Fantasy 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, and 5 didn't make it to North America and the Western audience because, you know, Japan thought, oh well, it might be a little too hard for Westerners to understand. Which I get that. It was a concept not everybody was familiar with. You know, one game you're leveling up by killing monsters. The other one you have to, like, level specific items. And then I think in, you know, that's in Final Fantasy 2. And then I think in Final Fantasy 3 they introduced the job system where every job has a specific level, and you map out how you want your team to grow, how do you want your characters to grow. And all of that led into the MMOs and everything. You could say, like, start in World of Warcraft and say, like, you want to start leveling a specific job. You start with one job and then, like, oh, okay, but what if you're not happy with it? Well, you start over again. Final Fantasy 14, does a thing where it encourages you to just basically mess around with every job until you find one that you feel is best suited to you. And little by little, as they've updated it, they've made it a little easier for people. But in the beginning, or at least like, when the PS4 started releasing 14, it was a little hard to grasp, like, the concept. Okay, I want to be a paladin, but then I decide, I want to be a black mage. But it made it easier to grasp that sort of system of, having a class and then mastering that class, and then once you've mastered it, once you've grown, they have their own storyline that kind of like grows with you. The job that you take grows with you and just becomes part of you. So, like, I started as a black mage, and then I went into Dark Knight, and Dark Knight just kind of, it blew my mind. I was like, wow, this is different. And the story behind the Dark Knight was also really good, and it fits Shadowbringers perfectly because, I don't think, every expansion needs to have, like, a specific class to shine. I mean, Heavensward shone light on Dragoons. The Dragoon quests became very important to Heavensward because, hell, it's Estinian. The monk quests, I kind of get that they included some Alamegan, story in them, but for Shadowbringers, I feel like the Dark Knight quest was really fitting because, now you have Frey with you. You can take him with, he's with you. He's your darkness. And then you have Ardbert now, who's like, he was the warrior of darkness in your world. He was, the hero in his world, in the world of the First. And his soul is bound to yours. You share basically the same soul because you're both warriors of the light and darkness. In balance. And I don't know, I just love concepts like that. I love concepts where it's like, okay, yeah, the darkness is not the evil thing, it's the evil within the darkness, and the villain being such a layered character, he puts on a face of Emmett Selk. I'm talking about, he puts on a face of being, this uncaring, soulless Ascian that, they've made the Ascians out to being because, the Ascians, to us, they're monsters, after everything they've done. But then you see his resolve, and you see that, all he was trying to do was bring back the people he loved and the world that he loved. But that world is forever lost. And this world, these two worlds, first Eorzea, they're worlds that can still be saved. And I think that's the idea that you take away from this story, is that you can't think too heavily on the past. You need to think about the future. Those who wish to see the future, those you can yet save. You can't think about those that you couldn't save, but those you can still save. I feel like that was one of the weighing questions with Emmett Selk, is like, what is he after? What's his true goal here? Why was he, allying with us for a while? And I think it's because he also realized, we shared the same goal. We didn't want to see our world destroyed. He didn't want to see his world, he wanted to bring his world back. So, it's just kind of like an endless cycle. But that's life, though. Like, when you think about it, that's life. There is no true peace. There is no true ultimate resolve, you know, to ensure that, like, humanity's always going to be at peace. Sure, you can instill a government, you can instill, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? You can instill some structure in a government and, like, you know, lie to your people and, like, you know, keep them in a bubble and say, well, you know, things are at peace because, look, you know, we have everybody in a bubble and, you know, nobody's allowed outside the bubble. But, you know, you're just kind of delaying the inevitable. Eventually that bubble's going to burst. Eventually people are going to ask questions and rebel. And that happens a lot. I was just thinking about some other topic. I was talking about Attack on Titan, which is, you know, a manga anime that I'm also very attracted to. It's also got a storyline about, you know, how, you know, humanity, if humanity were to always defend its freedom, like, would humans ever stop fighting? Would we ever be at peace? And I think the answer really is no, we wouldn't, because there'd always be something we need to defend. There'd always be something we need to fight for. If it's not our loved ones, it's our freedom. If it's not our freedom, you know, it's something else. And the whole concept of that story was, you know, humanity trying to defend trying to find its way through the world, trying to solve the mysteries of the world and find freedom, you know, beyond these walls that close them in. But, you know, you also have to question, you know, why do these walls exist? Why do these monarchs exist? You know, is it really to keep people safe? Is it really to prevent endless war? So that's, you know, the reasoning. The reasoning is it's not one-sided, you know. Yeah, you know, it's like I like stories like that where, like, you know, the villains are not one-sided. There's no right or wrong, because both sides are equally right and both sides are equally wrong. You know, both ways have faults. Like, you know, you could free yourself from a life of imprisonment, but look, now you have to fend for yourself. Look, not everything outside your world is peachy. But, you know, you have to ask yourself, truly, is it really better to just accept it and, like, live behind closed walls and never explore the outside world? That's just something I take away from it. But Shadowbringers was like, it was like on another level with the story that was already present there, and I feel like this story was already present from the beginning of where we started with Realm Reborn. You know, a Realm Reborn symbolized, like, you know, the beginning of a new era for Final Fantasy XIV, because we really didn't know much about the world aside from the 12 and, you know, all the inner workings of Eorzea, which is just one continent in Hydaelyn. But Hydaelyn itself is a world that shares a soul with the First, with Zodiark. So I thought that was really interesting. The fact that, you know, both worlds exist on different planes, on different timelines. It's Arbert and his friends. I like to think all those trailers from the early days of 14, you know, that was them. That was Arbert. Brandon. I know I didn't record any of it, you know, aside from the end of it, but, you know, I played through Brandon's tank role quest, side quest, and it was really sad. Like, he gave his all to protect his queen, and she ended up, you know, becoming a monster that he had to, you know, had to take her out because that was her wish. And then he himself became a monster. But, you know, that's how it goes sometimes, you know. When you're faced with an ultimatum, when people are faced with ultimatums, like, you know, they resort to desperate acts, you know, to protect everything they love, everything that they have. But this story had a theme of, like, you know, letting go of things, letting go of all of that, and instead, you know, accept that, like, your journey, your legacy means making a brighter future, being there for people who come after you. You know, those who came before lead those who come after. Like, that's kind of like the way that the story is handled, and I like that. I really liked all the scenes with Ardbert and the Warrior of Light. Those were the most engaging for me, because it's like, wow, this is us. Like, he was us. So yeah, obviously, Final Fantasy XIV's become like a major part of my life. But I mean, eventually, yeah, there's other games, like, you know, it's not just this one, but like there's other games that, you know, that are like this. But I like this one because, you know, there's a lot of just personal attachment to, like, the world and the characters and stuff. The world of Final Fantasy in general, I have a lot of personal attachment to. Just from a young age, like playing Final Fantasy IV on the DS, and like finding out that there's all these different Final Fantasy games, like the ones on the PlayStation, you know, Final Fantasy VII, that they're all different stories, they're all different worlds, but they all still have this concept of, you know, saving the world, and, you know, not just accepting one fate, but instead defying fate. And they all have these hidden, like hidden mythologies within them, these hidden, like, inspirations. I don't know how to like piece words together right now, but yeah, I was like at a loss. This is almost like how I felt after I finished Heaven's Word too, almost, because after I finished Heaven's Word, I was like also at a loss for words. I was like, wow, that was incredible. It was a pain because, like, you know, I wasn't really able to. There were some things about this. This is the thing with MMOs and me. It's like I'm not one to just kind of sit there and like do like a 10-hour, 12-hour session of, you know, just grinding through an MMO. Because, like, yeah, you know, I'm not getting paid for that. Like, you know, it's not something I do. You know, I don't live in that world, but, like, at the same time, whenever I can, whenever I make time, yeah, you know, I do live in the world. And I do like getting lost in a game's world and a game's story. I could say that about a lot of games. I could say that about, you know, Legend of Zelda. I could say that about Chrono Trigger, Xenoblade Chronicles. You know, I could say that about Metal Gear Solid. Like, you just get so invested into those worlds that, you know, it's just it's almost like a higher level of excitement than when you, like, watch a TV show and it's like, oh, the TV show ends, So you're constantly waiting for a new sequel or a new season, or something like that, or a movie. But it's like one of those things where it's like it never really ends for you, because you can always go back to that world and you can always re-experience things. So, anyways, because I just started rambling, because I needed something to talk about. I don't know how long these credits are going to be, but because I needed something to talk about, I just started rambling on.
You should. A real story based on fact. Ghost is perfect.
Okay, I have comments to speech on, so I didn't really understand that, but I'll try to see if I can read it right here. You should. A real story based on fact. Ghost is perfect. If you mean Ghost of Tsushima, yeah, it is perfect. I do plan on streaming that game sometime. I mean, I might even stream it tomorrow, yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do, is like, just kind of get into a good game and, get lost in a game and just kind of like share it with people, not just like keep it to myself, like, because there's often times where it's like, oh, I want to talk about games, but talking about them doesn't really convey like what you what you really liked about them some of the times, like, at least not for me. So I like to stream games because it just became sort of a hobby for me, sort of something that I feel like I would enjoy doing if I did it a lot more. So, Ghost of Tsushima, it was, I think it's inspired by true, like, there's a lot of things that were inspired by true events. Like, well, the whole thing is inspired by true events, because, like, Tsushima's an actual island. It was invaded by the Mongols. But I think that some of the characters, like, they might be fictional. But even still, like, it's a good game to explore. A lot of people compare it to Assassin's Creed, which is not a good comparison because it's nothing like Assassin's Creed. You could say that, and it has a similar structure to how, missions work, quests, but, every open world game has like a different structure to it. Assassin's Creed, I tried getting into Assassin's Creed Odyssey just recently, and I don't know, it's not that I didn't like the game, but it's like, yeah, I could see where people had faults with it. It's not like the Assassin's Creed we once knew. I don't know if we'll ever get an Assassin's Creed, with Ezio, like how we got something with Ezio where it was like, oh wait, we're exploring the memories of somebody through somebody else, through somebody else's DNA, and the story was written in a way that like made us care about those historical parts, because like they made us care about the character. We see through the character's eyes, and then we start to see history play out through their eyes, through the eyes of an individual who's living through it, and that's what made those games really great. So it's kind of a similar concept. In Ghost of Tsushima, you're seeing things happen that really did happen, in Japan's history, through somebody's eyes, and you're living through the life of a samurai. I've always liked samurais too. Just the concept of it, the code. They were knights of you know, their own legacy. Like, one story I always think of when I think about samurais is you know, the show Samurai Jack. I know it's a cartoon, but like, you know, the way that he always kept his composure, and like he's always respectful, and he always fights with honor, even though he's fighting machines most of the time. I liked that whole concept of, like, you know, a warrior who's not, he has control over his emotions, or he tries to. I liked that whole concept of a samurai, of somebody who has control of their emotions, and they're able to fight honorably, while also, you know, efficiently, but knowing, you know, you also put your life on the line. Your Dark Apocalypse, Yoko Taro. I can't wait to do that. Raids. Just connect. Oh my god, this was happening? I believe I owe you all an apology, and you most especially. Oh, okay, this was this was in the story. I didn't think we would swim you. Where are you from, really, and how did you get to be so strong? Okay, this was the story.
Hearts in the game bring you to tears.
Yeah, I definitely feel that too. It's been a long time in recent years for a game to bring me in tears. I think the last game I really cried over in the story was what was it? It was The Walking Dead, the Telltale game. It's the first season of The Walking Dead. Telltale's The Walking Dead. I broke down. I was like, damn, that's so sad. Before that, it was Kingdom Hearts, and then Crisis Core, and then there was this one scene in damn, I can't remember. Oh, yeah, that one scene in The Last of Us where Joel has to save Ellie from the hospital. That scene also, that whole part brought me to tears. That's another game I have to play, The Last of Us Part 2, which I'm not going to get into in this stream, but, you know. I still want to play it, even though I heard so many, you know, controversial things about it. The ending to this tale hath been a joyous one indeed. Myriad were the lessons learned, yet there is one of particular import. 'Tis imperative that I master magics to grant my feet purchase upon the water, or else allow me to part the sea at will. I must needs visit Bismarck in due course, and scrub his teeth in thanks. Mayhap the airy arts of a fairy whale might be imparted to mortal men. We shall see. We shall see. Ha, so Oriandra made it. Wonderful. People came from Malms around to join the festivities, but most seem to have stumbled home by now. Even so, I dare say Novrant will echo to the sound of clinking mugs for some while yet. I thought to indulge in a little revelry myself last night until Oriandra began to list all the names of my drunken conquests. I ended up drinking water. Water. Oh, Ulrich, are you well? No ill after effects? To my eyes, you seem completely healed. It really is a miracle. Speaking of happy surprises, I was amazed to see the crowd that greeted our return. I hadn't realized just how many people we'd meet along the way. And did you see their smiles? Right then and there. I vowed to do whatever I could to keep that joy from fading. I'm just gonna tell my FC I finished Shadowbringers real quick. I knew the Knights Blessed were among the revelers, but the Crystarium was so crowded I thought it safe to speak my true name. Poor Runar and his ilk were gripped with panic. As you may recall, 'tis customary to not reveal one's true name outside of family and ceremony. Yet when I hurried to explain that all present were like family, I was greeted with an outpouring of tears. An emotional people, the Blessed. It would seem I don't know my own limits. I had thought to push on till dawn, but my body had other plans. Still, I did enjoy the carousing while it lasted. Even I need to forget my cares every now and then. What I don't need is to wake up to Alphino smirking at my bedside. He said my face was a rare sight while I slept. Gods, I hope I wasn't drooling. It would seem that the city is celebrated long into the night. Not that I would know. As embarrassing as it is to admit, I woke to find myself in the infirmary, having apparently collapsed from exhaustion. My aching pride was somewhat soothed by the sight of Alice asleep in the bed next to mine. She must have been just as weary. Long has it been since I seen her face so peaceful in repose. 'Twas a rare, tranquil morning, made unforgettable by the sight of those clear blue skies. So what happens now? The adventure continues as always.
By your deeds has the blinding light been banished from these skies, and the Sin Eaters driven to retreat. Although our many hurts will be years in the mending, I have faith that this world and her people will one day be whole once more. With no rejoining in prospect, the Source need no longer fear the coming of an 8th umbral calamity.
And with that triumph, the future from which you came will no longer come to pass. Yet here you still stand.
So I do. I wonder if that other age continues onward somehow, cut adrift from time's flow. Or have I simply etched myself a place upon this new block of history? Either way, this is an unexpected development. As the summoner of your souls, my death was meant to release you back to your world. Yet I am very much alive, and you are still stuck here in the First.
What? Oh, wow. So we still can't get back to the Source. They still can't get back to the Source.
I believe I speak for us all when I say that we are happy to postpone our return if it means your life is spared. We will seek out another way.
Besides, I never had any intention of rushing home. There are people here I still need to thank, and this means I might actually have time to do so.
Yet we dare not neglect our comrades in the Source. Mistress Tataru, to name but one, will be most anxious to know how things stand with us.
So, you'll just have to make the journey alone for the moment. Be sure and give a full report to our fellow Scions, will you? Oh, and we'd also appreciate any news you can bring us from back home.
Oh, so Orion's just going alone?
Then I see no reason to delay. I can open the path from here.
I imagine we each have matters demanding our attention, so let this be a farewell for us all. Send word when you've resummoned our friend. Oh, and do try to ensure he arrives within the city next time.
Of course. I shall strive for utmost accuracy. No strange forests or unplanned passengers, I promise.
I'm a little relieved, to be honest. I would have been terribly lonely if everyone had suddenly disappeared.
Oh, that's right.
But I understand that you have to go. Safe journey, warrior of darkness. I hope to see you again soon.
She's not from the source.
Just a moment while I attune the portal. Then you can be on your way. When I was a boy, many long years ago, I yearned to stand tall as the heroes of Eld. But like a fool seeking to pluck the stars from the heavens, my every attempt to reprise their deeds fell short. And then one day, an all but forgotten dream from my youth stood before me in the flesh.
So now I'm curious how they're gonna bring the Scions
A
back.
hero who looked at the horizon and beyond and saw I knew not what. All I knew was that I would give anything to stand at that hero's side. Would that it was so easy. The glory of the heavens was ever beyond the grasp of those who never thought to reach for it. But if I have gained anything from all of this, it is the courage to stretch out my hand. Do you hear me, Grahatia? This is no time for sleeping.
Meanwhile, in the Imperial Palace at the source. Yeah, forgot about this whole other story going on. Been a while since we were updated about this. There's Justinian. There's Belsar. Guess they bought some friends with them.
To the west gate. I want to know what's happening there.
Same as the others. Struck down with a single blow. An unfortunate day to draw guard duty. Forgive me. These were your people.
We took advantage of this slaughter to slip into the palace. 'Tis not for me to grieve them. That was the Emperor! Wait!
Oh God, what's going on?
Uranians!
Oh shoot, is he back?
Gaius, you've missed your part in this, I'm afraid.
Identify yourself, demon!
You were hoping for the Ascian? The Craven shed this skin and fled, rather than face me. A pity. I was looking forward to crossing blades with myself. But I cannot deny the feeling of satisfaction. Body and soul reunited at last.
What now? The game continues, but the pieces have changed.
Only if we trust in a Paragon's words. A mistake I do not intend to repeat. Gaius!
Oh my God.
He speaks the truth. Elidibus is gone. Tore a hole into the rift. Xenos, my foolish, greedy son. Was a second life not enough? Was the Empire too rich a prize to ignore? True freedom for our nation, our people, will never be won by a spoiled princeling. The burden of this throne is beyond you.
Tis you, father, who have struggled with this burden. Simply holding the Empire together has occupied your limited faculties. But you may take comfort in knowing that I have no intention of pursuing your tedious agenda. Nor am I interested in ruling over the Empire's lands. I came only to remove that which ruins my sport. I will not have my prey stolen by your petty wars and cowardly weapons.
You would kill me just for that.
I need no other reason. Any and all who interfere with my hunt will not do so twice!
Oh my God. Xenos just became the Emperor.
I heard the Ascians speak of Zodiac and Eidolon. Even the will of this star is but a construct of our own making. We shall gorge upon their strength, and then, my friend, our contest shall begin anew.
Xenos!
Oh, don't tell me Balsar is gonna die. It's interesting to see what's going on in the source since we've been gone. Because, I mean, time flows differently, so I guess not that much time has passed. But it's still a significant amount of time that's had to have passed for Estinian and Balsar to join forces and then infiltrate the Empire, only to find the Emperor murdered by his own son. But that's, you know... That's why... Alright, let me finish this quest first. Xenos is on another level. I think Xenos... I don't know if he's an Ascian too, but he has the ability to transfer his soul. Or he got his soul transferred to another body. So there's something going on there. And I'm sorry if I missed it, if I wasn't paying attention, but like... That's one thing I had. That was like a big question. I was like, what? So let me... Where am I going? Oh yeah. Go to see Tataru. We're back. Huh? But how? When? We didn't think you'd be back for ages. Time moves in mysterious ways. Nah. Would you rather I win again? Oh, don't be daft. I just can't believe you're actually back. We heard the good news from your pixie friend, but nothing compares to seeing you in the flesh. As for the situation on this side, the Imperials are still eyeing our forces from afar. For what I am told, the Garlean armies have been slow to react and seem reluctant to commit to any large-scale engagements. It's an odd sort of stalemate. Otherwise, we've yet to see any sign of the awful Black Rose weapon we were warned about. That's good. But I suppose we did call in an old friend to help out on that count. What old friend? Kryle and I had a terrible time tracking him down, though it'll be worth it to see the look on your face when you find out who it is. Anyway, I was just about to make contact with this helper of ours, and then confirm the latest news from the front. Might you fancy having a rest while I do? Ah, the Warrior of Light, back where he belongs, just as if nothing had happened. Though you do seem different somehow. You'll have to tell me all about your adventures when we next have a spare moment. Until then, welcome back. Oblivion has claimed him. Emmett Selk gone, La Habrea gone, I alone remain, the last of the unbroken. Once more I am moved to reevaluate the potential of these tattered souls. Ah, Xenos, never did I dream you could overpower me so completely, possessed as I was of your body, and all its uncanny strength. And now that I have shared with you the truth of this world, and its reflections, who can predict how events will unfold? Not I. Emissary, what a poor jest that title has become. The flow of history has become muddied. Its currents wild beyond my capacity to direct them. You have wrested the advantage, Heidelin. The thieving hands of your disciples tighten their grip on our star. The origins of the world remain hidden, and its inhabitants ignorant of their broken existence, just as you and your creators desired. They celebrate the gift of imperfect life, uncaring, unknowing, as we weaken and fade. But do not imagine yourself rid of us. Though your champion has indeed proved the most egregious obstacle to our ascendance, a barbed thorn in my side, he may yet be removed and cast into the abyss. Oh yes, it can be done. I will keep these heroes mirrored in the first, and victory will be ours at the last. Warriors of darkness now, are they? Their fate is decided. They shall meet the same end as those who came before, death at the hands of warriors of light. Okay. What else have we got to look forward to? Green. It seems you were right. There is something out there. But it would mean crossing moms and moms of this infernal emptiness, which is rather unhealthy for living creatures, as I understand it. Even were we to restrict ourselves to brief forays, I don't like to imagine the effect it would have on our ether. But you still want to go, don't you? We may have saved the world, but we haven't reclaimed it. When you put it that way. What choice do we have? Well, of course I'm going with you. That's what family is for, isn't it? Come, let's head back and prepare for this mad journey of ours. Thank you, Thancred. Wait, what is that? Through blazing skies give way to gentle light. What hand can end the war of dark and light? By opening the trust interference located under duty, you may now repeat previously completed main scenario dungeons with a party of NPC and avatars. Avatars will gain EXP and level up in accordance with their duty participation. For more information, please refer to the help found within the interface itself. Furthermore, bolstered by your experiences in the first, you're now able to access new quests from job-related NPCs in the source. In order to access them, the following conditions must be met. Reach level 80 in a given job, complete the relevant level 70 job quest, complete the associated role quest line. Quest locations and other details can be reviewed in the level 70 job quest journal entry. In addition, quests to unlock new content have now become available in the Crystarium. Rest well, Warrior of Light and Darkness, for 2 worlds of adventure await your return. Shadowbringers. Alright! Well, that was Shadowbringers, and now we're going to move on to 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3 content. So, I'll see you in the next stream.